So the State House was started in 1839. It's officially completed in 1861, but we've used it since 1857. So I always tell people that it was kind of the first art institution in the state of Ohio. We have Perry's Victory in the Rotunda, which was commissioned in 1857, was put in place in 1865. Every governor from the state of Ohio is in our collection. We have a portrait. So we're in the north hallway of the State House. Actually, Governor Kasich's ceremonial State House office is directly behind me, so this is what we call the Governor's Hallway. When I think of this guy, I always think of Christopher Walken. It's Robert Lucas. Lucas County is his namesake. And you can just see the face, the nose. Also, some people call him Hawkman. And then one of my favorite portraits is Asha Bushnell. It's the composition, the mustache, the background, the color. I just really like that composition in that portrait. So now we are looking at the governors of the Civil War era. We have Salmon P. Chase. Now he is one of the founders of the Republican Party in 1854. He thought Lincoln was a homespun, backwards lawyer. So he is Lincoln's really first rival for the nomination of 1860. Of course, Lincoln brings him into the administration. He basically pays for the American Civil War. Chase, as Secretary of the Treasury, introduces a dollar bill, specie, the paper money that is backed up by gold that basically pays for the American Civil War. So Governor Cox is up there. You see the American flag. Again, the American Civil War was really good for Republicans after 1865. So he was governor after the war, but he wanted that service to be memorialized. So you see the American flag, you can see he's got his sash, his officer's sash on the table. There's a pair of field glasses that we would use. And it looks like either the document could be a commission, it could be an order, it could be something, but he wanted that militaristic, that military service to be in everybody's mind when they look at this portrait. You know, this is a legacy piece, right? So this is their way to tell the story of their administration. The governor's portraits are privately funded, and they've become property of the state of Ohio. Taxpayers are not paying for this. So we are right here in the House chamber. So if we look around here aesthetically, the pale pastels, the architectural design, this is the way it would have looked in 1857. So we've used this space for governance for 160 years.
House, come to order.
So behind me is the first female speaker of the Ohio House. That's Joanne Davidson. This portrait was painted by a Toledo artist by the name of Leslie Adams.
So Joanne Davidson was such an honor to paint. I mean, she's just an icon,
More
right?
than a quarter century ago, Winston Churchill told us, "We shape our buildings, and afterwards, our buildings shape us." So
Well, she didn't want to wear pants because, and this was news to me, that, you know, women were not allowed to wear pants on the House floor, which was shocking to me. You know, when I started doing portraits for the State House, I painted Governor Taft. And the artist that came, that painted governors before, he had done something that was a little more lively, something that really had used the State House as a backdrop. And so he did that, and I said, well, I want to do that too. And so Governor Taft and I walked around the State House, and I've done that with everyone I've painted at the State House or the court. We'll walk around and walk around and walk around and find what's that special place to them. And for Governor Taft, it was the seal of the state of Ohio that was at the time in the gift shop. But, you know, a bright piece of stained glass. If you compare that portrait to the 19th century ones, it's sure a lot brighter. You know, one of the things about portraiture, what is a portrait? A portrait is an image, a work of art of a unique individual. When you walk into the National Portrait Gallery or the Ohio Statehouse, you see room after room after room of these prominent individuals who built our nation, who shaped our society, and who still contribute to it today. And those are the people that in the Ohio Statehouse we see. They built our state. They shaped our laws, and they still are doing that today. And that's why I'm so grateful that the tradition of painting portraits in the Statehouse continues, because it's not continuing in every state in the country. There are so many states that are stopping and using photographs, if they even do that.
The grounds and the interior of the State House is where Ohio has commemorated great individuals, historical moments in time, just to catalog and tell the Ohio story. That's the beauty of the Ohio Statehouse. You can focus on architecture, you can focus on art, you can focus on civics. It's a cultural institution of value that citizens can use for all different kinds of information.